Okay, so as I always start every interview, it's rockflesh.com, coming from Sweden Rock once again, and we have managed to get some of the British contingent with us. It's Sammy from Employed to Serve.
Put these on momentarily and take them off
For
again.
the look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whistle Stop tour you're on currently, isn't it? Like
Very
European
much so.
dates, festivals.
Yeah, it's been sort of, day on, day off. So we had a travel day yesterday, and then, like I was just saying, we got here at 8 this morning, so feeling a bit frazzled. Like everyone else is currently sleeping in our like 10, but I'm a little bit too excited.
Mystic Festival, was it?
Yes, yeah, that was the last show we did.
How did that go?
That was awesome, man. Like really good show. Like the place was packed out, and it was just a really nice festival to be at. Like,
Yeah.
They had lots of like really cool stalls, and I love going around looking at records and like cassettes and stuff. So I was in my element fully.
Oh, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. I was looking at the bill the other day, and there's quite a lot of bands playing both Sweden Rock and Mystic Festival, I think, and like kind of, moving between the two.
That's
That's one of the joys, but also the double-edged sword, I guess, of the festival season is if you're getting booked a lot, that's great, but it must be hard work.
Yeah, it's tiring, and you kind of have to like pick the things you want to do. So for example, if there's a certain band you want to see, or there's a certain thing in a certain city you want to do, you kind of have to realise like, okay, I can't do it all, so let's pick the priorities and go with that. So for example, actually our guitar player David and drummer Casey's birthday in a few days, so as a birthday present they went shooting some guns yesterday in Poland. So I thought, okay, why not? Might as well give it a go.
So why not? Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
So that was one of the pit stops we did make, whilst the rest of us just sat down the road at a petrol station.
It's good though that you're able to kind of take in some bits and bobs in different cities and stuff, because sometimes we speak to the bands and I say like, what's the favourite city you've been to on this tour, and they go, well, we've not really been able to see.
It's the classic meme where it's like, oh, you're in a band, you must see so much cool shit, and it's like motorway, petrol stations, pretty much, and when you're, because we're like self-driving, we're just in a van and this, that kind of is the vibe. But since we've had the days on and off, it's allowed a little bit of time for some pit stops and stuff. But we have been on some runs before where it's been like nothing but motorway, venue, rinse, repeat, essentially.
So do you do all the logistics yourself as a band?
For the most part, So I sort of, I by default take the role of like tour manager. I wouldn't sort of call myself a TM, you know what I mean? I wouldn't trust myself to do it for anyone else.
Band dad, I think. I think Muzza from Siamese described himself as that.
Absolutely.
The rest of the band described him as that, I think.
Oh really? Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. So me and Justine, we're the tour mum and dad, and we were literally, when we were at Mystic Festival, we're hanging out with our friends in Harriet, and I could literally hear him calling over like the green rooms, going, Mum, Dad! And they came next door and it's like, why didn't you come? We're crying for you. And that's why you should never leave them on their own for too long.
Well, exactly. Never leave them unattended.
Absolutely. We learned our lesson there. So, but we sort of manage the sort of day to day, and for the most part, I mean, it would be nice, obviously, someone else kind of doing that, but at least we know exactly what's what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly. We've been in contact with the festivals and the promoters and stuff, so we kind of have a lay of the land before we actually get here. Know what's going on.
I think it's nice sometimes to have that control. I mean, obviously, it would be nice for someone to deal with it, but actually knowing the mechanics, the cogs of what's going on, and sometimes that takes away the stress, maybe.
Absolutely. I wouldn't call myself a control freak as such, but I think knowing, like I was saying, like what's what before we get there, it gives you that kind of little bit of peace before you turn up. Yeah. You kind of know everything's taken care of. I'm sure, like when bands get to a point where they appoint like a permanent TM, they get someone in that they fully trust that they're going to rock up and it's done. Get on stage and do
it's a big trust moment of trust in it, kind of
absolutely thing. And it's just nice chatting to people as well. Like we always like to send like a thank you out after we play the festivals, and because it's always, as we are just massive fans at the end of the day, so we're always just delighted to be at these festivals, getting to play is a Brucey bonus, but just being here and being able to hang out and see some cool bands is, it's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, getting away from Woking. Do you still live in Woking?
We do, yeah.
Still my in-laws live in Woking.
So you know the lay of the land there.
Yeah. There's my brother-in-law did a statue for there. I can't remember what it is now.
Okay.
Which God, I've completely forgotten who it's
Or
of.
you've just put yourself on the spot.
But yeah. So I know Woking quite well.
Yeah.
And it's when we've been speaking to a lot of the Swedish bands, I've kind of been asking what do they think the reason is why Sweden creates so many good bands. They're like, well, it's those long dark winters. They got nothing else to do. Does it feel the same in Woking? The long dark winters?
They can be. It can be pretty grey, like, trust me. I guess, I don't know, the only thing that I could say that's remotely metal sounding is that we have Horsell Common, where in H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, that's where, like, the spaceship lands. And that's pretty...
it's H.G. Wells, the statue that my brother-in-law did.
Oh, no way!
One. Yeah.
There's
big, like, bronze statue.
Yeah, I know the one, and it's just down from, because we've got the tripod as well, so... Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool. Shout out to your brother-in-law.
Exactly.
Word to your brother-in-law. But yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's probably a very cliche thing to say, but I guess it's kind of like similar to what a lot of people say, where it's like kind of small town, not a lot going on, so you find stuff to kind of get, interested and excited about.
It's like the gritty.
That's it. The Woking, the mean streets of Surrey.
Exactly.
Yeah,
people will never know.
They don't know the struggle, honestly. They don't know the struggle. Only palm reader understands.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Well, I see. You meet at 6 as well, a sort of like Woking area. So you've got a couple of bands.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you find these things, don't you? Where you have these little kind of areas where you got to say like Milton Keynes has quite a lot of like the tech bands and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you do see that.
Yeah.
2011. Is that when you started?
Sort of roughly about. So that there's 2 start dates that we kind of have. So like me and Justine started it as like a recording project in sort of around that time, 2011, 2012. Did a couple of like sort of EP demo recordings. But our first gig as an actual band with a proper lineup was it will be 10 years in August. So 2013 was the first show we did. So we kind of used that one as like the real starting point, but technically it was 2011, 2012 that the idea was, come up with. But yeah, I mean 10 years since our first show this year. That's pretty wild.
So you're not a brand new band, but it feels like you've suddenly burst onto the scene now.
I guess the thing is we've changed a lot since we first started. So the first EP we wrote as a proper band. It's just sort of scrappy, chaotic hardcore. And not sort of shitting on it, but we wrote the music kind of quick so we could get out and play shows. You know what I mean? There wasn't like a lot of like crafting going on there. It was like we just worship bands like Botch and Norma Jean and the Chariot and stuff. So we just wanted to play some pretty like visceral music and get out and tour. And all our hopes and dreams were to play with bands like Svalbard and Palm Reader and Bastions and all these other bands in our scene. And then like all these things you kind of do, you complete one goal and then you move on to the next. So I think, at that point the idea of playing something like Sweden Rock or whatever and rubbing shoulders with whoever.
So far removed from that initial kind of.
Exactly, it wasn't even really thought of. I wouldn't, obviously we would love to do it, but we weren't really thinking of it as a thing. So it's kind of with every album we've done, we've kind of gone so far and been like, this is interesting. This is good. Yeah, we'll just, and we'll just keep, writing new stuff and experimenting with our sound and just see where it goes. And so far that's been good for us, and things keep getting more exciting. So
2021 album, Concrete.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that just, do you feel yourselves that you like smacked it out of the park with that? Because we don't really do like album reviews and stuff with Rockflesh. We do live reviews, but our lead writer Stuart always does a kind of top 100 albums of the year, and it was Rockflesh's #1 album for 2021.
Oh,
so that's how much we love.
Thank you very much. That's awesome to hear.
And it just it felt like the journey had reached what you could always be, as it were.
Oh, that's
you
cool,
know,
yeah.
all those kind of different genres and elements that you do bring gelling perfectly, I think. And does it feel like that to you?
It feels like that to us, but obviously, you know, that's where we let people outside of the band kind of make the final judgment. And it's nice to hear that, because since we've obviously taken a step in a more sort of trad metal direction on Conquering, the last thing we wanted to do was like lose those elements that kind of made us what we were before, because we obviously always want to switch it up sound wise, but we don't want to like completely alienate people who listen to us prior, so
don't lose the core.
No, exactly.
We said that with Raised Fist. They said that, you know, they don't feel like, oh, we have to write songs in a certain style or anything like that, but because they know they're always going to have that core running through that their sound, and that, you know, say if you hear the first few bars of a song and you know what band it is from that, then
that's
it's
always what you want to obtain if you can.
Exactly.
Like, that's always what you strive to do as a band. And I feel, I mean, with us, I feel like from the sort of early stages of the band, maybe from like our second record, we kind of let it be known that we weren't afraid to kind of switch things up. I mean, like, first album, Super, I would say it kind of fits almost in a more kind of mathcore kind of world. And then with the second one, we had some slower tracks on it with a bit more like verse chorus kind of structure. And I think from that point on, people, even if they don't necessarily 100% back everything we do, they've kind of accepted that it's like, we like to throw curveballs, you know what I mean? It's just from a fan's perspective, once again, I remember like the example I always give is getting Slipknot's third album, you know, Subliminal Verses. And first time I heard it, I really wasn't sure, man. There was a couple songs on there where it wasn't what I'd come to. It wasn't the Coca-Cola recipe I was used to. But with more listens, I became absolutely obsessed with it, and I loved it. And I enjoyed the fact that I didn't quite love it at first listen, and I had to kind of like, even though I was not sure, it kept pulling me back. So once again, I'm not saying that's what we've achieved with our music, but that's what I'd hope to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as a band evolves, the fans evolve sometimes as well. You see that with some bands like, say, obviously Bring Me Hither Rise is a good example of that, but like but Deftones, those kind of bands, you're just changing it up, and you know, maybe you pick up some more fans or lose some fans, but actually most real fans of a band often kind of stick with the evolution as well, I think.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah,
they're growing together with your fan base.
Absolutely, and there might be like, there might be like one or two tracks or whatever that certain fans don't like as quite as much as others, but I mean, that's the risk you play, just wanting to keep it interesting for yourself at the end of the day, isn't it? You know, it's got to be done.
Yeah. Perfect. Right, let's do some fun questions.
Yes.
Fun questions. So, the one we always ask.
Yeah.
If employed to serve were a drink, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, what drink would they be and why?
It would be a very generic sports lager, because everyone in the band enjoys just like, doesn't want anything too hoppy or fancy. So it'd be something like, I don't know, or like a lager or a pilsner or something that you can session.
Maybe like a piston head lager, like they have at this festival.
Exactly. And I'm an AF person myself, and I've heard they do a very good AF beer. So if you're listening, Piston Head, let's hook it up. So yeah, something like that. Something very sessionable, pilsner lager that also has an AF one for Sober Sally over it.
So bits and bobs.
Yeah,
like the band. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, biopic film of the band. Who would play you?
Can I say Mickey Rourke?
Yeah.
Because I want to look like him in The Wrestler when I'm older.
It's a good call.
I'll go for that, or Danny DeVito. Because I feel like that would be. I feel like you'll really capture the essence of who I am.
It makes a change that people often say Jason Statham. No matter what.
Yeah,
certainly anyone who's got a shaved head just says Jason Statham.
Or Steven Seagal or something.
Exactly. Steven Seagal.
Yeah, we love it. Actually, that's our guitar player David's choice. He's actually said many times that there's a biopic about himself he wants Steven Seagal to be in. So
see, people do think about these things, not just me.
No,
you know,
absolutely.
I mean,
These are the real questions you have to ask yourself in life.
If you could do a collaboration with anyone in the world, who would it be?
I always find that one so difficult, and I'm really stumped to think of who it could be right now.
It could be as left field as you want.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what could be like. don't know now. I mean, we said for years like Deftones, but I mean, I don't know. That'd be kind of like a weird mashup now. But we love Deftones, so we do it just because. You know what I mean?
That's a good.
I guess, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's someone a bit more like kind of wacky that I wouldn't think of. I can't think of anyone. Fuck it, we'll just get Square Pusher into this, like, make some remix one of our tracks.
Remixes. Yeah, that's a good call.
There you go.
Cool. Okay. Writing, recording, playing live. What order do you put those in out of enjoyment?
Probably playing live number one, writing, and then recording last. I mean, I quite enjoy like all three.
Yep.
But I think playing live, obviously, like, I mean, well, for the most part, every band will say playing live. But yeah, I think recording, some people hate it, I quite enjoy it, but writing's always quite nice, like, particularly like if you're sort of just in the zone at home, just like, you know, and you're sort of daydreaming like, oh, I can imagine playing this riff at X, Y, or Z festival, you know what I mean? Cheesy example of that is we have a song on Conquering called We Don't Need You. And writing that riff, I was like, oh, this needs to be played at Wacken Festival, and we're doing Wacken next month, so it's things like that that's always quite nice about writing, that you can kind of hopefully manifest in a little bit certain eventualities.
So does writing, is it something that it sounds like it's not something where you sit down and go, right, I'm writing. You just like ideas come to you maybe when you're on tour and stuff like that.
Just sort of a little bit of everything, really. Like
in the shower.
We're quite, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have been at work before, like on my old job, just like on the voice recorder, just going, no. You know, when the moment takes you, you've got to respond.
Yeah, looks for me.
Yeah, so it's like, don't mind me, I'm just making a phone call real quick.
But he's like, oh, sorry, Mum. Yeah.
Sorry, exactly. She's used to it, trust me. But we're kind of like in an interesting like phase of the band now, because we've got like well, it's not a new lineup now, but going into the pandemic, it was like almost an entirely new lineup. So Conquering was, for the most part, 99% me just sitting at home writing.
Yeah.
And sort of at this point, I'm still like writing quite a lot of it, but like the other members like David and Casey and Nathan, they've been in the band for so long now, they've got like a good understanding of like what, you know what I mean, they're fully like, they've evolved into
they're fully inducted.
We formed like Voltron, and everyone gets the memo, and we're all very much on the same page, and like David's like a big I come from like death metal originally, it was like my big love, and he's also a big death metal head, so we like really click on all of that kind of stuff. So there's more ideas flying from outside of, well, my sort of world of writing, which is nice, you know what I mean?
Good.
And we feel like a cohesive unit rather than just myself sort of sitting at home.
Exactly, and then that, I mean, that's just gonna, you know, more flavours into the mix, you know.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. I think you can never underestimate that. I mean, even with Conquering, still like sat down, like particularly with Casey, our drummer, on that one, and went through all the songs and like double checked the structures and stuff, because you can just be in your own world a little bit too much, you know. Like Mark of the Grave, for example, that song, like it was just like so much longer because certain parts of it just went on for like longer than they had to, you know what I mean? So you do need sometimes that outside person to be like, maybe not back
and going, come on.
Exactly.
But like, you know, editing, you know, basically, isn't it? You
exactly,
know, rather than just someone going off at a tangent.
Yeah,
like I often go off at a tangent, as we know.
We all do. We all do, yeah. So as soon as I get an idea of a bit like that, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, whoa, rein it in.
So, festival season, and then in October time, isn't it? I think the UK headline tour.
Yeah, so excited for
Pupil
that.
Slicer along for that.
We do indeed.
Fantastic lineup. Fantastic lineup then.
Yeah, we've been wanting to hook something up with them for a while, so we're glad the stars have aligned on that.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like two bands exploded at the same time, almost kind of thing. You know, that's how I feel, and two of the most exciting bands I think in UK metal at the moment. So yeah.
Well, we're stoked, and like I've known Kate since like the early days of Pupil Slicer, so it's just been like so cool to see them like blowing up and just absolutely killing it. So and to now do a tour together and just slice and serve it up around the UK.
That's it. Yeah. Pupil serving.
Pupil slice.
Would
you like I'm serving slices of the pupil cake. Would you like? Would you like a slice?
We're employing you to do that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sammy. That's been
My
awesome.
absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No,
And, I hope I haven't. Yeah, I'm slightly tired and delirious. So hopefully I have not waffled too much.
Oh, you make perfect sense. But
the first time in my life.
the sun waits outside for us both.
Got the shades ready.
Exactly. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Obviously, we'll be doing a review of
Lovely
your set.
stuff.
There'll be photos on the website as well. Remember to like and subscribe this channel and click the links to get through to the pictures and the reviews. We've been Rockflesh with Sammy.
See ya. See ya.